Yeah, so just in terms of the injury updates, at the moment, I haven't got too much for you other than to say Danajay Da Silva's obviously out of the tour. Probably doubtful for the England tour as well. So that's disappointing. We've picked up a huge amount of niggles today, which is ridiculous, really. And that goes with Angelo Matthews, who's busy starting to bat this week in Sri Lanka, and Saranga Lakmal, who we're hoping is getting to some form of fitness to be eligible for the second Test match. Look, it was something that yeah. First of all, let me start at question one. Look, I think it is. It's just conditioning. It's players. You know, if I take you back to what our program was, we built up for a Test series with Bangladesh. So we had 2 residential camps in Colombo when Colombo was in lockdown. We built up to a Bangladesh series that didn't take place, unfortunately. We then had to deload the players because we couldn't keep the players loaded up at their level. The South African tour was on and then off and then on and then off. So then we had a residential camp where we got our guys back. And during all that time, the background to that is obviously Colombo was in curfew. Some of our players couldn't move out of their homes. So a lot of the conditioning work had to have been done at home. We then, obviously, once the South African tour was on, the board agreed and very generously gave us a residential camp, which we went to. We had 2 weeks where we started to load the players up again, and then unfortunately we had the LPL. So from our residential camp, we lost our players for a month to the LPL, which is through no fault of anybody's. That's just how it worked. And then we got them back the day we left to come to South Africa. So in terms of loads, and so in terms of conditioning, in terms of quarantining where players weren't allowed to do anything, I think you can throw all that in the melting pot, and every one of them probably plays a role. In terms of COVID substitutions, I would love to have one. I mean, we're 5 guys down at the moment, you know. So in this Test match, and I don't know what the prognosis yet is on Dinesh Chandimal. So you know, I'm hoping it's cramped, but I've got a feeling it's a little bit more than cramped. So that's another one down. It's luckily we brought 21. Otherwise, it would be Grant Flower at 3 and me at 4 in the next Test match. But you know, so that it is what it is. We've just got to work through that and hope that we get some players coming back from injury, and hopefully we get some that aren't as bad as what we initially thought. And in terms of COVID substitutions, I do sit on that ICC cricket committee. I will be having a chat, I think, at the end of this Test match, because I saw India lost one of their quicks today, and I suspect that more teams are going to lose quicks as it goes on, because it's just the rigors of the workloads is just going to be too much with COVID around and the quarantine process. Look, Ken, I do think, you know, if the world was normal, I don't think we'd be in this situation, because I think the conditioning would be perfect. I think guys would be ready to go. With it being an abnormal world at the moment, that is certainly something that can be looked at, and I'm pretty sure will come up for discussion at ICC level at some point in time, because it's you know, you're right. We got 7. If Chandy's out, we've only got 6 fit players to finish discussed. Ken, I mean, Telford, I'm actually not I thought, you know, hoping glass half full man that I am, I thought it was just players, but then again, that would have devalued the competition. So, you know, there's so many riders. If I had my time again, we probably would have pulled some of our quicks out of it, you know, and I think this is going to be the kind of narrative we have all the time with our players, with the different franchise competitions, and the fact that I think 2021 is going to be very, very busy for most international teams. So kind of getting the balance right is going to be important. The conditioning work and the getting enough time for preparation is going to be key. We didn't get enough time here. But again, that's through no fault of anybody's. That's just how the calendar worked out. And we knew we were going to endanger some guys, which is why we bought 21 players. I certainly didn't think we'd only have 7 fit players in this test match, with 2 of our most senior. A little bit of a grey area in terms of injury substitutions, but if the players in the situation that we're sitting in now, which is pretty dire, to be ample opportunities to some of our younger players now. Let's have a look at as to what they can do, because I do feel that we are going to be a couple more days. I think the positives that we've got out of this test match is that our batsmen have got in and played. I think our batting stood up. I think our batting got 396 in innings 1 on a wicket that was bouncing, seaming, and doing a bit bowler in Kasan Rajita. Yeah, it just put our attack under so much pressure. So that was really tough to swallow. But I have thought that our batters as a group have stood up and played really well here.
For premium content and exclusive member benefits, subscribe to thepapare.com today.